So, what actually happens when a disaster strikes? From massive hurricanes to raging wildfires, the US has an official playbook. Today, we're going to unpack that really complex, multi layered system and show you exactly how it's all supposed to work.
Okay, let's put you right in the middle of it. Imagine this. A major hurricane is just 24 hours away from hitting your town. What's the plan? Who's in charge here? What's the very first thing that happens? And for millions of Americans, this isn't just a hypothetical. It's a very real question that our entire emergency management system is built to answer. The entire U.S. response system, the whole thing, is built on this one simple but incredibly powerful idea. All disasters are local. What this means is that no matter how big the event gets, the very first people on the scene are always your local firefighters, your local police, and yeah, your neighbors. The national system is designed to support them, not replace them.
Now, to really get how the response works, we've got to rewind a bit. We have to start long before any sirens start blaring. The most effective work in emergency management, believe it or not, actually happens during what they call blue sky days, when there's no immediate threat on the horizon.
The whole approach is structured around this four-phase cycle. You've got two phases that happen before an event, mitigation and preparedness, and two that happen after, response and recovery. It's best to think of it like a continuous loop, right? The lessons we learn from one disaster, they get fed right back into the preparations for the next one. So those first two phases, mitigation and preparedness, they're distinct, but they're both absolutely crucial. Mitigation is all about lowering the risk, things like building stronger levees or having tougher building codes. Preparedness, on the other hand, is about being ready to act if disaster strikes anyway. That means running evacuation drills or stockpiling supplies. You can think of it like this. Mitigation tries to stop the punch from landing, while preparedness teaches you how to take it. And get this, preparedness itself is its own cycle. According to FEMA, it's a 5-step process that just keeps going. Communities make a plan, they get the right people and gear together, they train those people, they run exercises to test the plan, and then, and this is the critical part, they evaluate what went wrong and they improve it for next time. It's a constant process.
To really hammer home this idea of all hazards preparedness, the CDC launched this absolutely brilliant campaign a while back. Their advice was simple. If you're ready for a zombie apocalypse, you're ready for pretty much any emergency. I mean, it's a fun way to think about a serious topic, right? A kit that's ready for zombies is going to work just fine for a hurricane or a big power outage.
All right, let's jump forward to the moment of crisis. The disaster has hit, the clock is ticking. This is the response phase. This is where all that planning smacks right into reality. So what is the response phase? Well, the official definition is super clear and direct. The goals are immediate and they're all about saving lives. This isn't about long-term rebuilding yet. This is search and rescue, giving immediate medical care and making sure people have the basics, food, water, and shelter. And this is where you see exactly how that support flows. Remember that saying, all disasters are local? Well, the response is always executed locally first. If local resources get completely overwhelmed, that's when the state steps in to manage things. And only when the state itself says, we can't handle this, does the governor officially request federal support. It's a tiered system that only climbs the ladder when it absolutely has to. Okay, so when that federal help finally does arrive, how is it even organized? I mean, it's not just a bunch of trucks showing up randomly, right? The entire federal government organizes its massive response through a system called Emergency Support Functions, or ESFs for short. Basically, you can think of each ESF as a specific lane of assistance that's led by a specific federal agency. For example, ESF number 1, Transportation, that's handled by the Department of Transportation. ESF number 8, Public Health and Medical, that's led by Health and Human Services. This structure makes sure that when a state asks for, say, help evacuating hospitals, there is a dedicated team that's ready to handle that very specific, very complex task. So after the immediate danger is over, once the life-saving stuff starts to wind down, that's when the really hard part begins, the long, long road to recovery. And recovery isn't just one big thing. It's really split into two different phases. You've got short-term recovery, which is all about getting the basics back online, getting the power back, clearing major roads, maybe getting schools open. Then there's long-term recovery, and that's the massive, super complex job of rebuilding homes, businesses, and the entire community's economic and social fabric. And I really can't stress this enough. The timeline here can be just immense. For a truly catastrophic event, like a Hurricane Katrina, or some of the huge wildfires out in California, long-term recovery isn't a matter of weeks. It's a marathon. It can easily take many months, and in some cases, years, or even a decade to fully complete. Okay, so we've looked at all these different pieces, right? The 4 phases, the tiered response, these ESFs. But what's the master plan? What's the one document, the single playbook that connects everything and everyone together? Well, it's called the National Response Framework, or the NRF for short. This is the guide for how the entire nation, and I don't just mean the government, I mean everyone, responds to all kinds of disasters. It's designed to be scalable, to be flexible, so you can apply the same core principles to a small local flood or a massive nationwide catastrophe. Now, a really important and pretty recent update to the NRF is this focus on stabilizing what they call these 7 community lifelines. This was a really practical shift in thinking. The whole idea is if you can get these absolutely essential services back up and running, you create the stability that community needs to start its own recovery.
And here they are, the 7 lifelines. They really represent the absolute core of any modern community. And you can see right away how they're all connected, right? You can't have health and medical without energy. You can't get food and water to people without transportation. So the #1 priority of any response is to figure out the status of these lifelines and get them working again fast.
And this quote right here, it really gets to the core philosophy of the NRF. It's not just a plan for the federal government, it's a framework for the whole community. And that means local government, state agencies, federal partners, private businesses, nonprofits, and yeah, regular citizens. Everybody has a role to play. And that really brings us right back around to the most important question of all. This huge, complex national system, it's ultimately built on a foundation of prepared people and resilient communities. Knowing the plan is one thing, but knowing your part in it, whether that's just having a family emergency kit, volunteering, or simply checking on your neighbors, that's what makes the entire system actually work. So, what's your part?